While science is an amazing tool and an amazing model for the world around us, I would say there's definitely more to understanding exactly how this world works. I grew up in a Christian family myself, but I didn't really believe in Christianity too much. It was just something I did. I didn't even really like going to youth group. I thought people were loud. But anyway, when I came into living environment, that's like a biology class in middle school, and our teacher, I love that guy, but dang on, he was really hammering home. He's just like very, very anti-faith in his message. And for the first time, I began to question my faith seriously, and because I felt like there's some sort of disconnect here from what I believe or what I think I believe at home to what I'm learning in my studies here. But they both seemed like there was truth to them. I decided to approach my biblical studies similar to my studies in class, and I really read the Word and studied the Word, took notes and cross-referenced things, and really tried to figure out if what I believed in was actually the truth. I began to see that the Bible does have solid wisdom for many situations in my life. And then, so from that ability to reconcile those two ideas, I was able to focus my studies more on the times when there is a great overlap between what I found in my academics and also what I found just reading the Word. And I found that there's far more overlap than there is perceived knocking of the two. When one sort of looks at the way the Word describes creation in Genesis, it's very direct. You know, you have 7 days. On this day, this was created. On this day, that was created. It's very succinct and clear. But when you look at evolution, the creation of our universe in general with the Big Bang and creation of stars and planets, it takes place over billions and trillions of years. So right there you have two ideas that seem to be kind of butting heads against each other. But something that I found in just my studies and research, a majority of them, including the Big Bang, Galileo saying that the Earth wasn't the center of the universe. All of these great scientists were actually Christians themselves, which that seems to say that there is a way to traverse that contradiction between the two. As you start to look at the sciences and even like the idea of evolution, there's a mapping of like what was created first and then next and after that. If you look at that, it actually matches each day that the Bible describes, whether it be the fish of the ocean were created on this day, and then the animals on the earth were created on this day. It actually matches to a T. And you know, it's just something to think like maybe there isn't that much of a contradiction here. And when it comes to actually getting the solid dates of things, radiocarbon dating is huge for dating the age of the Earth, but even that has its own flaws to it with accuracy here and there. So on both sides of the spectrum here, there could be a little bit that we just will never really know for sure. So when it comes to creation specifically, either way I look at it, I can only see God in it. So whether he did it in 7 days, that's amazing, or whether he did it over a gradual process over time, his sovereign strength and beauties in both versions. When it comes to the idea that science can explain every single phenomenon that we experience or every single random thing, I find that when you look at science studies as a whole, it becomes very clear very quickly that that's just not the case. When you think of miracles in the Bible, like people raising from the dead, a bush burning but not setting on fire, scientists even have a solid-ish understanding that there is a certain level of randomness to the world. And one of the laws in science that I feel sort of connects to this is the second fundamental law of thermodynamics. You have a whole bunch of possibilities that a system can rest into, and those are like your microstates. So if you have, for example, all the particles of air in this room, there's a whole bunch of random knocking around and things bumping into each other, pressure against the walls. So there's several microstates for where every particle could be at any given moment. So you could have a microstate where they're all uniform, or you could have a microstate where they're all like in one corner. And statistically speaking, actually the idea of them all being in one sort of corner statistically makes more sense, but obviously that's not what we have. But the idea with microstates and macrostates is you have a whole bunch of random microstates that never seem to surface just because they are more improbable. However, there is a possibility that that can happen. So even with the idea of the miracle of a burning bush, but it not burning, 100%, that could be some sort of microstate giving the right energy and things. Something like that could happen, but a scientist would never consider that because it just seems extremely improbable. But then again, the possibility is there. So if you have a sovereign God who's super powerful and can manipulate, he's outside the bounds of time and space, he could definitely manipulate something like the states of atoms in their travel through space and make something like that possible. So science doesn't exactly describe every single phenomenon, but even within that, there's some parts of science that say like, dang, maybe there could be some random nature that we just haven't really observed like that. 100%, you can do both, and that is such a worthy thing. And the reason for that is the idea that science and faith are in enmity with each other has been disproven by so many scientists that were Christian in the past, and so many amazing discoveries that were made by men and women of science and faith throughout the generations. And in fact, I would tell this person to be encouraged because there is an extra level of joy and an extra level of peace that comes to being able to study amazing scientific findings and research with the knowledge that you are studying the creation that our sovereign God did make. And your studies academically have a certain mapping to your studies in your Bible as well, as you're learning about your Creator in so many more amazing and different ways.